Hello. Hooray! Let the show begin. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Classic Album War this morning in honor of the excellent Alice Cooper show that I saw last night, Bethel Woods. Full concert review coming up shortly. Wanted to do a Classic Album War that involved the classic Alice Cooper group lineup and one of their albums, of course. I'm talking about 1973's Billion Dollar Babies going up against Desolation Boulevard by Sweet, or The Sweet as they're called quite often. Okay, two bands, two albums whose styles kind of like bridge the gap between, hard rock, glam rock, early heavy metal, that sort of thing. Okay, both albums pretty damn popular. I think it's pretty safe to say that when most people talk about either Alice Cooper or Sweet, these two albums usually come up in the conversation as some of the best releases ever from either band. Okay, your opinion may vary, but I kind of tend to agree with that. So let's start with the earliest one first. All right, so 1973's Billion Dollar Babies. Okay, pretty special album. Contained the classic lineup of the band, obviously, right? Produced by none other than Bob Ezrin. Okay, a lot of really, really strong tunes on here. So we've got, Kickoff Hello Hooray, a great song. A lot of fun. It really sets the tone for the album. I always really dug that song, that playful vocal by Alice. Then you got the up-tempo, rockin', Raped and Freezing. Killer song. Elected, one of my favorite Alice Cooper tracks of all time. Just there's an anthemic quality to a lot of the tunes on this album, which I always really dug. And then speaking of anthems, you got the title track, Billion Dollar Babies. Killer tune. Killer heavy rock tune. And then the great Unfinished Sweet. Ain't gonna get me. Another killer tune. And then kicking off side two of the vinyl. I don't know, one of the greatest guitar licks of all time by Mr. Glenn Buxton. All right, Michael Bruce. No More Mr. Nice Guy. Another song that probably, I don't even know if Alice and the band have ever not played that song live. It's like you have to, right? It's like kind of one of their perennial favorites among so many fans. Just a great tune. Then you got the wonderful Generation Landslide. Okay. The lurid Sick Things. Sick Things. I love that tune. I always really gravitated towards that kind of like, kind of the ominous horror themed Alice Cooper material. Always did a great job on that stuff, regardless of what era of the band you're talking about, right, or his solo career. Then you've got the kind of also really interesting Mary Ann, right, and then finishing off the album, you've got the incredible I Love the Dead. All right, for my money, just so many kick-ass tunes on this album, between the kind of the creepy shit like Sick Things and I Love the Dead to the more anthemic, memorable hard rock anthems like No More Mr. Nice Guy, Unfinished Sweet, Billion Dollar Babies, Elected, Raped and Freezing, and then you got the kind of quirky, Broadway kind of Hello Hooray, and it's just so many great tunes on here. A killer album for a reason, right? It is incredible, awesome, all that good stuff, all right? So we're going to move on over to the next participant in today's battle, all right? The Sweet. Band that started out kind of like as a bubblegum pop band, and then all of a sudden started to, develop the hard rock tendencies. A lot of their tunes like mid-70s, late 70s, pretty muscular, pretty rockin', pretty hard rockin'. They had the kind of the glam look going on there too. Some of the choruses and things like that. So they're kind of lumped in with glam bands a lot, but a lot more to the band than just that. So we had two releases of this, two versions. So in 74, you had the UK release on RCA Records, which basically that's the version that I have here. And because at the time they weren't really releasing Sweet albums here in the US. So Sweet Fanny Albums, the album that came before it, just before, because they released both of these in the same year in the UK, a killer album as well. but nobody here heard it. So what they wound up doing, they released Sweet Fanny Adams and Desolation Boulevard in the UK, and then finally, like a year later, they decided, well, we got to get, this band is doing really well. We got to get some shit out in the U.S. So what they did was they kind of combined some of the top tracks from both albums as a new Desolation Boulevard's album. Okay, so this, depending on who you are, there's different versions of this album. I've only heard and only ever had the UK version, and I have the UK version of Sweet Fanny Adams. So, probably would have made sense to just release a double album with both of them, so you get all the greatest tunes, all the tunes, and all the singles, because they were releasing singles at the same time instead of this like hodgepodge shit that they put out. But anyway, that's a story for another day. So we got kicking off side one of the LP. You got the 16s, a Mike Chapman, Nicky Chin tune. I kind of like that tune. That's a good hard rock tune. It's real catchy. Then you got Solid Gold Brass. Another really cool tune. Again, that poppy nature of the Sweet. Still infiltrating the music, but little muscular guitars coming in. Turn It Down. Another kind of quirky, poppy rock tune, heavy rock tune. Dig it. Medusa. I really like Medusa a lot. Some killer guitar work in that tune. Lady Starlight. Andy Scott piece. A little more atmospheric, but still really cool. Great melodies in that. Then you got the lengthy, almost 9-minute Man with the Golden Arm, which is a really cool tune. Of course, most of it is pretty much a drum solo, but surrounding, it's kind of like Sweet's version of like, Moby Dick, so to speak. There's actually a really good tune in there, and did they really need to have a drum solo on a studio album? Yeah. Your mileage may vary, right? That's like, I would have just rather heard a nice, compact, 4-minute kick-ass rock tune, but whatever. Then you've got the amazing Fox on the Run. For a lot of people, probably Sweet's best song. It's a killer tune. Killer tune. And then Breakdown, at the heavy rock and Breakdown, another tune I like quite a bit. And then, in the UK version, you've got a cover of The Who's My Generation, which is admirable, but, I would have rather heard something else, right? And so then, you hop over to the UK release, the US release, which was released here on Capitol Records. And there you had, Ballroom Blitz, which was a single by the band, killer tune. The 16s, No You Don't, AC/DC, I Want to Be Committed, Sweet F.A., which is Sweet Fanny Adams, Fox on the Run, Set Me Free, Into the Night, and Solid Gold Brass. Now, I know for a lot of people, myself included, I've never had that version of the album, but that's probably a stronger album than what I'm holding here. All those tunes I have on the tunes that are not on here that are on that US version, the Capitol version, I've got on the Sweet Fanny Adams release. Okay, so it's kind of strange. So for me, based on all that stuff, I would have just taken Sweet Fanny Adams, Desolation Boulevard, combine them, add those couple singles, kick-ass double album. That's kind of hard to stand up against, right? So, but, I'm going to base this discussion on what I have and what I've kind of always known, all right, which is the UK version. It's still a pretty damn good album, all right? My version's got, all sorts of bonus tracks. It's got, Teenage Rampage and Own Up, Take a Look at Yourself, Burn on the Flame, Someone Else Will. What else here? I Want to Be Committed. Misdemeanor, so some really good stuff. Makes this pretty damn good. I dig it. I really like Sweet around this time, and the early stuff is what it is. Little Willie and all that kind of stuff. It's fun, but I think with Sweet Fanny Adams and like all the albums that came after it, really, really good band. However, not a lot of groups can stack up against the magnificence that is Billion Dollar Baby. So as much as I like this, either version, I guess, because, I know all the tunes from the US version, right? I still think this is tough to beat. So this is going to be a spirited battle for about 8 or 9 rounds, and then we're going to get a 10-round knockout by the Alice Cooper Band over Sweet in this particular classic album war. I just think that this is just start to finish just really, really strong. There's not a weak tune on this album, in my opinion. And there's so many different flavors on this album. So many different textures and styles, and it all works. Every song is so memorable. The playing is great. Alice sounds great. It's, one anthem after another, basically. So There's my winner for today. $1 Billion Babies from Alice Cooper and the Alice Cooper Band. 10-round knockout over a very spirited Sweet Desolation Boulevard. Yeah, I probably should have done a Queen versus Sweet battle. Whatever. I kind of thought this one was pretty cool. So anyway, here's my pick. All right. Your mileage may vary. You may like one over the other. On the Facebook page, Alice is winning by a fair margin right now. A lot of people are saying that, if we were talking about the U.S., the capital version, might be a closer battle or a different story. So, you base it on whichever one you kind of grew up with and you know the best. It really doesn't matter. Or you can just kind of combine the two, combine both releases into one, and what do you think? Even with all of the tunes from the UK and the US release, does it still stack up to and beat this? So that's another interesting way to look at it. So leave your comments in the comments and feedback section below. Be good to read that. And no right or wrong answer here, just based on what you like, what you prefer. There's no loser because both of these are damn good. Two great bands. I know we've had a lot of people on the channel. A lot of viewers have been asking me to do more Sweet related content, and I actually am planning a Sweet top 10 song show coming up in the not too distant future. So keep your eye out for that. In the meantime, visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube every damn day. Be on the lookout for Alice Cooper show review from last night's Bethel, New York concert that I attended. A great time. It was a great show. Hopefully going to get to a questions and answers this weekend and a top 10 songs. Not sure what that's going to be yet. Going to throw something together pretty quick for you. I'm also going to, like I said, put the starting touches on that history of Southern rock thing that I've been talking about. So we're going to do that real soon too. So stay tuned. Don't miss any of it. Subscribe. Tell your friends. Make sure you hit that notification button so you get all the emails every time I post some. It's in your inbox so you know when something new is happening. And also, don't forget to use the playlist, folks. You know how many people I get posting comments? Pete, have you ever done this? Pete, have you ever done this? Peter, I'd love to see you do a show on this. In most cases, I've already done them. Go to the playlist. Everything is nicely organized in there. Go to the playlist and see all the old content. We're almost at 5 years here, guys. All right, we're celebrating our 5-year anniversary next month. So I've been taking all the content and putting it in nice little buckets so you can find shit real easily. So please use the playlist feature. That's what it's there for, okay? It's there for you to find content easier and just not always, oh, did Pete ever do this? Did Pete ever do that? Just go look. It's very simple, very quick. Everything's in there. So we'll see you again real soon. Don't touch that dial. All right, bye-bye.